Pumpkin. Wait, Pumpkin, come back. Don't run away. Say hi, Pumpkin. You want to say hi? Turbo, hello. Go outdoors. So zoomed in. There you go. Go outside. Come on, enjoy the snow. Yeah. Snow. Whole bunch of it. This is going to be a weird video. It's currently 3 degrees outside, so I probably shouldn't be out here. I spent the entire day filming in the grow space and a little bit out here yesterday and today for Saturday's video. And I spent so much time in there that I completely forgot that I still need to get a video out for today. This video you're seeing right now, I forgot about it. So I'm not gonna be using any of my pre-recorded things that require a lot of editing. We're just here, we're gonna hang out for like 10, 15 minutes, get some stuff done. I'm just saying hi, how you doing? And watching Turbo go potty. Put an extra thing of lights inside the greenhouse. It's keeping it pretty warm there. It's 37 in there right now. The snow on the roof makes a tremendous difference. When the snow melts on that thing, it doesn't hold the warmth in very much. I double bagged the laurels because they were saying it might get below 0. They're not saying that anymore, but they were saying it might get to like -4. And did the same thing over here with the needle palms. Got those double bagged. Okay, we're caught up with what's going on outside. I think we're supposed to get another, they said between 2 and 7 inches of snow tonight. I don't know what's going to happen. Yes, I have sandals on. I wasn't planning on being out here very long. Oh, there she is. Nice to see you. Hi, Pumpkin. How you doing? Cosmo, say hello. Hi, pretty bird. You can say hello? You can give everybody a kiss. Give a little kiss. Little smooch. Little smooch. Mwah. Okay, there's my minute and 20-second long intro of absolute nonsense. That's all I have the brain capacity for right now. In Saturday's video, a lot happens. I came out here. I reorganized. I was pulling plants, repotting a lot of things, found some plants I completely forgot about, which will probably be the topic of this video. I didn't forget about these. I kind of forgot about them. This one, I forgot about. I found it on the bottom shelf. I had to get this whole bottom shelf cleared out because I have a heating mat coming in and a whole bunch of seeds and starter plants and plugs coming in the mail. All that's going on the bottom shelf, so I had to get that completely cleared out. And I found this little gem down there, and I was like, what, who? What? I don't remember this plant. I do now know. This is the white Rhino, Sansevieria. And then this Sansevieria over here, I cannot believe that this thing is alive. Sansevieria, they're tough plants. I know they're Dracaenas now, but I'm calling them Sansevierias. It's a cylindrica of some kind. I can't remember what it's called when it does the thing, but it's a cylindrica. This was in this container right here, which is just holding all the scraps from things I was cleaning up and repotting. I had this set over here on this table, and I didn't even realize there's no hole in the bottom of this container, and that is not like me. I am a stickler on drainage, especially for a plant like a snake plant. These things, they're fairly low fuss, but the surefire way to kill them is have them sitting in water. And I was never paying attention to how I watered it. I just took the hose and watered everything over here. So can't believe this is alive. Not only is it alive, it actually flowered a few weeks ago too. So I guess it was happy. It was slightly dehydrated. I've had this one for years upon years. In fact, this one at one point, it was in a video a long time ago. It fell behind some shelving over here, old shelving that I had, and it was back there for an entire summer. I didn't even know it. I didn't find it until I was bringing the plants back in for fall. So it spent like 9 months in the dark, unwatered. Didn't look good when I found it, but it has rebounded and it looks much better now. And during the summer, I just had this sitting on top of the soil, I think on top of one of the mule palm pots. Didn't pay any attention to it. It was just sitting there. So I figure I should go ahead and probably do something better for these. I have some soil mixed up over here. Not a lot, but I think enough to work with to maybe repot both of these. It's a blend that I used to, well, actually, I started off to repot some heliconias. You'll see all this in Saturday's video. And that had more organic matter in it. And as I moved down the line with the plants as repotting, I slowly just started diluting the mix with more and more just regular potting mix so that it would be less nutrient dense for when I got to the cactus and succulents that I had to repot. And now these guys right here, which don't need a nutrient-rich soil. It's not going to hurt them as long as it drains really well and things are nice and warm for them. That's the main thing. It just needs to be a nice, airy mix. Also, part of my voice. I've been talking for hours upon hours for Saturday's video, so a little bit hoarse. Okay, so to repot these, there's not a lot that goes into it, right? You just don't want to move up into a container that's too much larger than the one that they're already in. I have a few different containers around here. I think I'd like to save this one. I want to use this pot inside, and I don't really want the Sansevierias in the house. They're toxic-esque. They're toxic, but they're a plant that the cats usually won't chew on, but it's not a risk that I want to take. So I would rather not use a pot that I want to have in the house. Also, I really like this pot, and I don't know if I want to use it on the Sansevieria. So I think that this would be really cute in the next few weeks during springtime with some like tulips or daffodils. And oh, that looks kind of good though. Like the way that looks. It doesn't necessarily need to be repotted. I just think that it would be a nice thing to do for the plant. It's been in that container for many years, and it's been through a lot, never asked for much, so I may as well. This one right here, the white Rhino, I'm just gonna pop it into this pot right here because it was the closest pot to me when I was pulling it out. The white Rhino Sansevierias, they're a really cool looking type of snake plant. They have, they look like a big starfish, and they have more of this white sheen to them. See that? It's not a powder, right? But it's just a nice white color. They don't have that at this size, right? They got to do some growing. Gonna need to put on some size first, but then I'd say probably a year or two, it should start to fan out, and it'll really start looking pretty good. I'm sitting right next to a container that I could have this set in and not be making a giant mess on my table here. That would probably be the smart thing to do. So, do you want a close-up of this soil blend? It's a palm and cactus citrus mix, and then all-purpose potting mix, a whole bunch of nice big chunky perlite, and a lot of sand. So it's nice and airy and fluffy, drains really well. Some organics in it because in the initial mixture with this, I had some of the ocean forest blended in there as well for the more tropical plants, but it's not much. And this is, well, I mean, look at this. This isn't even in a well-draining mix. So that's the thing, you know, Sansevierias, we oftentimes treat them, as we should, as a succulent that needs a really coarse mix, but then you see this and go, oh, well, I don't know, maybe not. No, it does. Unless you're keeping these in a nice warm greenhouse, having a soil blend that's all muddy and mucky like this isn't going to suit them very well. In fact, I'm very surprised that this hasn't rotted out. I'm going to work out a good amount of that. This is not a very sandy blend. It's not terrible. It's nice and dark, but you know what I mean? If you've grown cactus and succulents and you just know what a good mix looks like, this isn't it. I mean, look, there are hardly even any roots on this thing. So that should go in to show you that it wasn't very happy with that potting mix. I think that this other blend should be a lot better for it. And that's also the other reason I'm making sure to get any big chunks of that old soil out of there, especially from up here. Be a good idea to get those out. I could easily divide this at this point. You just cut it right here and then cut it right there. I'm not going to because I would like for this to put on some more size first because, well, there's just not much going on here, right? Not a lot to preserve or to carry on to these little offshoots. I think the best thing to do would be to actually just get it repotted and let it enjoy a new life in a new container that it should do a lot better in. A nice airy mix is going to let those roots spread out and be much happier. Wow. This pot actually is probably a smidge too big for this considering what a small amount of root is on there, but I also don't want to use anything much smaller than this. One, because I don't think I have anything much smaller than this, and two, because it's going to be top heavy. I want something that's going to stay weighted down. Yeah, so that should be good. See the white line, the white down here, right in there? Just want to make sure that's buried. I could probably actually put this up a little bit higher. These really, really would be happy in a more shallow container. But again, this is what I have. So this is what I'm using. And this should be fine for it. It'll be fine in a container about this size. It's not like it's so deep that it's not gonna get its roots down, right? Sometimes if you're like in something like this, that would be terrible. The moisture is gonna collect in all this outside soil. The roots will never find their way to it. With this, there's still a possibility of that happening, but I don't think I have to worry about it. Because I mean, look at the plant itself. Should root out in here fairly quickly. Another option, better option, would be to go ahead and use a somewhat smaller container. Just a plastic pot is what I could have done, and then just top dress it with a whole bunch of gravel to help weigh it down. But I don't really have any plastic pots that I thought that this would be quite appropriately sized for. Well, I have some, but they're outside of my driveway, and it's, what did I say, 3 degrees outside? Everything's frozen. I already went out there once to unearth some containers to repot for the video that'll be out on Saturday, and they had to spend about 3 hours thawing out because they're all frozen together. I just don't want to go back out there. This will be good. Main thing is to not let it sit in water, and it should be fine. I could have put that up even higher in the container, I think. Yeah, I probably could have, but this will be fine. This way I don't have to be too delicate when I water the plant, which I appreciate. I have some pebbles here. Nothing fancy, just, you know, some cheap filler I got in clearance, probably from Michael's or something. I'm not really sure. And I'm gonna go ahead and top dress it just because I always think a succulent looks nicer when you top dress the pot. Only downside to that is that it will also lock in some moisture, and this container is on the larger side for this plant. So that's something I gotta remember and be careful about. But like I keep saying, wow, that was loud. Not really all that concerned. Things are nice and warm out here, and there's a good amount of airflow and circulation. So this should be just fine in this blend. Just gotta get these pebbles out. There we go. Yeah. All right, so that's the white Rhino. Don't know if y'all remember that from the Etsy video where I unboxed this or not. I don't actually know if it was even in a video. It might have just been something I ordered and never talked about. But we're talking about it now. Looks pretty good. Oh, something else I should have mentioned. This soil blend also has a small amount of the organic vegetable and tomato granular fertilizer in it. I think it's a 474. I have it right next to me. I'm trying to grab it. Hold on. Let me see here. 274. Good enough ratio. Succulents, they love a tomato fertilizer. So I thought that that would work out well. It can attract some more pests, but this is not a container that should really stay very moist for very long. So I'm not all that worried about that being an issue. This would be a great pot and a great top dressing for an agave. But, well, I was thinking about repotting some agaves. That's the long story short there in addition to these, but it's just not a good idea. I don't think that they would like being repotted this time of year. Okay, now for the fun one in the back. I'm gonna have to do some digging and try and find a pot that I like for that one. I don't know if I have anything. Hopefully I'll find something. Found something. It's a little dirty, but that's okay. This is apparently a old Wick and Grow pot that I've dug a hole in the bottom of, cut a hole in the bottom of. I think that'll work just fine, right? I did spray the inside down with some alcohol and then I flushed it out and then I got dirty, but it's had some kind of a cleaning to it. I think that size-wise, yeah, that'll work. Doesn't have to be perfect. The main thing, oh, that lifted right out. Main thing was just that I wanted to have this in something that was more stable, right? Because that eventually that was going to start tipping over and falling all over the place. So you know the routine. Just did it with the with the other container. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling all over all my materials over here behind the camera, behind the scenes. This is a deep pot, so the same conversation as I was having with the other one. You have to be mindful of the watering. Always better to go shallow. That was a very loud scrapey sound. I'm so sorry if that was awful through the microphone. I'm really sorry. Gosh, dang it. This is my very last bit of soil. I was so close to having enough. I'm gonna have to go mix some more up. I guess that's okay, because then I can show everybody the ratio that I'm using. I don't know if it really matters. Sansevierias are not that picky, but this way I can at least show you. Okay, there we go. See, so now there's a visual representation that nobody asked for, that I can't even get into frame on the camera. All-purpose potting mix, a good amount of very nice fine grain sand, a whole bunch of coarse chunky perlite if I had it. This is also when I would add in some gravel, just because succulents, especially Sansevierias, they do like a good amount of grit. So I like to have a variety of different stones and things in their mix. Sometimes I'll even add some bark, but in this case, this will be totally fine. Sansevierias, as I've mentioned, depending on the type, the more common types like the trifasciatas really are not that picky about their potting mix. All that matters is that they aren't in something that's going to hold on to water for too terribly long, and that's not compact. It should just fall right apart, right? Like that. And typically an all-purpose potting mix is fine for those. Just don't let them sit in water and they'll be okay. But I figure I have all the materials out here to make a nice, light, fluffy, rich mix for them. That's what I should do, right? Like it'd be stupid to just ignore that and use a regular potting mix. Not that it'd be stupid if you did that. I'm just saying I'm surrounded by all the materials. I may as well go ahead and fluff it up and try and make it nicer. You know what I mean? going over the top. I don't want to insult anybody. Did I go too far? I'm sorry. I personally always like to err on the side of more drainage is good. I'd rather have to water the plant more frequently than have to deal with any type of rot. This doesn't have any type of wrap going on, so I'm not going to worry too much about untangling the roots. I think they're fine just how they are. Okay, let's see. That better? I would actually like for this to be sunk down a little bit further than that. Probably to about right here. Just a little bit further to go. Maybe another, I don't know, 2 handfuls. There we go. Let's see. How's that looking? Yeah, I do want it set down a little bit further in there just because it makes life easier when it comes to time to water the plant. Oh, I took this out of my little container, so I'm going to get soil all over the place. That's okay. This really didn't fit inside that container very well anyways. I can just scoop the soil back into the bucket when I'm done. Not a big deal. So one thing I didn't do was add back in some of that tomato fertilizer, which I probably should have done, but the nice thing about those granular fertilizers is I can just sprinkle that on top and it'll be fine like that. I don't have to have it blended in with everything. Really, it makes the most sense for it to be right on the surface so it can be watered in. So, ooh, that was loud. Maybe I will do that now. Is this, it's not really centered. The root ball centered, but the plant is not. I gotta fix that. Okay, actually, it was centered. It had just fallen down. It was at an angle. So this is the time to adjust those weird growth directions, right? So you can lift it up, straighten it out, and then get that soil packed around that root ball, hold it in place, and get things growing in a more desirable straight up fashion. So the whole thing was leaning over that way. That's why it seemed like it wasn't centered. Yep, just needs to be straightened out. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I would like to top dress this one too, but I don't really think I want to use these. I don't like the way. Nah, I have some slate. It's kind of pricey stuff though. It's not really, I'm bending around all kinds of lights trying to get to it. It's not really something that I want to use in something like this, but oh well, it's right here. May as well give it a try. Yeah, I like that. I just wanted a darker stone. White would have looked nice, but I don't have white, so this will do. I just think it's something that looks a lot better with gravel on top. Don't you? Doesn't that look nicer? Again, by no means necessary for the health of the plant. It just looks nicer. I like looking at this a little bit better. Oh, I forgot that I also have some black lava. That's okay. I think those look fine together. The black lava and the slate were kind of mixed together. I'll try and sprinkle some of that slate up top. So I kind of like the gray mixed in there. Yeah, okay. This is good. You get soil inside of these little nooks and crannies. You can use a paintbrush or some canned air to try and blow that out. You gotta be careful with the canned air though. Sometimes, you know, when you get to the bottom of it, you end up blowing that liquid nitrogen out and that can frost burn the plants. But I'm not all that worried about this stuff. I'm gonna let it dry out. I'm gonna water both of these in with a root stimulator only because I have it sitting right next to me. So I may as well. I don't really think that's a necessary step with repotting Sansevierias. Again, they're just such easy, forgiving plants that this video wasn't even really necessary. I don't really know if I would call this a how to repot. I guess it kind of was. But there were things I did that I said you should not do, right? Like this might be too deep. And this could potentially be too deep too, now that I know how much root mass is in here, which isn't very much, but it should be fine. So I'm in a heated grow space out here, and I can be very mindful about the watering. Make sure that moisture's not sitting around too long. And there's a lot of airflow out here too. So it should dry out faster, I would think. Yeah, that's nice. That's just something I need to get done. Feels good to have it done. Always nice to check little things off, especially this guy right here. I felt so bad for him. That plant's really been through it and it just hasn't been having the life that it deserves. And this one over here, well, it was just sitting in its nursery container from months ago, and that's really not necessary either. Better to go ahead and get it potted up into something. And you could see it hadn't rooted into that muck that was planted in at all. So I have a feeling it's probably going to actually, you know, might start doing some growing now that it's in a better potting mix. Yeah, anyways, hey, that's all I got. Repotted a couple plants. Gave everybody some teasers about what's going on in the next video. Hope everybody's doing well. Comment down below. Do you have a favorite Sansevieria? There are lots of fun different color variations out there. My favorites are, well, the white Rhino, one of my favorites, the Fernwood Mikado. Beautiful, just long stems, a super sturdy one too. And then the Sayuri, which is a trifasciata, but it's more of a, well, it's not a trifasciata. It is, it's more of a gray and white. It's a really pretty one. I'm not gonna put a picture up on the screen because I don't have time to edit a video tonight. This is going straight out. But we'll talk about it another time. I've been trying to find one for sale, and when I find it, we'll talk about it. All right, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.